Go.
I'm Vernon Kidder coming to you again. How's everybody doing out there? Back again for another comic review for you guys. What time is it? Yeah, it's review time. First of all, I want to give a shout out to, of course, the Dark Avenger Inc. family, as always. Of course, to my beloved bro and mentor, Gambit. And I want to also give a shout out to everybody who came out and enjoyed my live Q&A on my Real Talk channel. Had a lot of fun with that. Thank you once again. But gearing up for tonight, especially for Dark Avenger Inc., you should all know what's coming for there. But thought always give out what we doing. What do we do? Here, I do reviews, and the countdown is on to my 100th episode. So, and for all those who don't know, the 100th episode is going to be a big live review. But anyway, let's kick off for the books we have this week. Once again, I keep all my books, now I'm starting to keep all my books out of my boards because I like to show off some things, and I put them in the boards later, in the bags later. But this week was really good, pretty damn good in my opinion, and let's get started with first book, and still keeping it in DC for now. First book we're going to talk about is none other than Aquaman, number 17. This is Jeff Johns and Paul Pelletier. I hope I'm probably butchering that name. This is the epilogue to Throne of Atlantis. This was pretty much an issue that you really felt for Arthur. You ever heard those words, you're torn between two worlds? This sums it up very, very epically. Without spoiling too much for you, we can see the trials and tribulations now that Arthur is going through as the king now of Atlantis, since he'd taken the throne of Atlantis. But you really had to feel for Arthur in this book. You really felt for Aquaman. You're like, oh man, he's torn. Does he do this? Is he still with the Justice League? How does he feel? Things like that. It was really, really touching and really heartwarming, especially if you're an Aquaman fan. You're like, man, Arthur, I feel for you, bro. And there's more with Amanda Waller. He's talking to Amanda Waller, and then all of a sudden she basically sicks the dogs on, let's just put it like this, somebody special close to Arthur. And but other than that, you really feel for Arthur in this. And then there's this ending that really was like, okay. But Aquaman number 17, epilogue to Throne of Atlantis, pretty damn good in my opinion. It's just me, people. Alright, so we move on to The Dark Knight, Batman, number 17, Battle Back, a Wonderland of Madness. Yeah, that's a very freaky deaky, groovy, like 70s look cover. We're still dealing with the Mad Hatter, and man, does the Mad Hatter look creepy as hell in this book. Hurwitz, Greg Hurwitz, and Van Schreiber's artwork for this. Schreiber makes, I'm talking about everything about Jervis Tetch. He's got the buck teeth, of course. He's got cockeyed blood vessel eyes now. And he's looking at this little girl, and one eye's going this way, and the other guy's going this way, and he's looking at her. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is freaking me out. But we get a little backstory of Jervis. Of, what he was like when he was a kid. And there was a real Alice back in his day that he actually liked. And we see a lot of things in this going on with the Mad Hatter, that he's almost like buying out companies in a sense. So he's almost like getting into marketing a little bit, but he's still doing it Mad Hatter style in a sense. And without spoiling too much, there's something that he does to one guy in this that just was like, oh God. I'm not gonna spoil what that was though, but it's seriously trippy. And I can only say, even if you were high, you still would feel that this book was trippy. I came like that myself. I'm having a good time, guys. Sorry. I hope you guys are too. Okay, so we move on to the Fastest Man Alive, Flash number 17. I like that cover, Barry on, doing kind of the guerrilla thing. Guerrilla Warfare finale. First of all, Mr. Manipool. What the hell are you smoking? Because I want some. What you do with the Flash is beyond sheer genius and beyond perfection, in my opinion. I love what you do with the Flash. It is so good. So this is the finale, in a sense, of what's going on with what happens with Rod, also the Rogues, everything. Battle between Gorilla Grodd and Flash. But not in Central City. In the Speed Force. And let's just say Grodd ain't used to being in the Speed Force. But we all know who is. You're looking at him on the cover. And let's just say that the fight between Grodd and Flash is kind of nearly one-sided, if you know what I mean. But it was great. So you probably ask yourself, so what happened to Irish West and everybody? Kid, did they get out? Yeah, they did. Flash was able to get them out of the Speed Force. So Iris is now back. And there was an awkward moment between them as well. And of course between another certain lady in Barry's life. As well as we could have maybe a new recruit for the Rogues as well. Not going to spoil who that was. But it's the ending. It's just the ending, people, that I think I want to talk about without spoiling too much. If you have not read this, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But let's just say a certain character that many of us have been wanting to come finally make his 52 debut is coming, and let's just put it like that. Alright, next up, Red Lanterns. I will agree with my mentor. This book does not get enough recognition that it deserves. I think it gets lost in a lot of just all the other Green Lantern books, but it is actually a good book. And to me, I've always said it, if there was any other Lantern Corps that deserves its own ongoing series, it's the Red Lanterns. First of all, This shit right here never happened. Just like my mentor said. Just like Gabi said. This shit right here don't happen. False. That's false advertising, DC. Don't happen. What the hell? Anyway, this is part 4 of the Wrath of the First Lantern. And basically, Milligan still does the writing. And let's just say Atrocitus is still not having a good day. Does he ever? And without spoiling I don't want to spoil too much for you, but that's pretty much, he's like seeing a apparition, I guess, of Chronos in this. The First Lantern doesn't come until the end of really the book. So it was like, once again, false average, because this really doesn't have really anything. You're not really looking at it like, okay, this is part 4 of Wrath of the First Lantern. But really, what really intrigued me the most was Rancor's story. They're still focusing a lot on Rancor in this, and I thought it was really good to see that part of it. I'm not going to spoil too much. He's back in, of course, his native land of England, and I guess you could say he's trying to cope with what he's becoming, in a sense. But other than that, this was still good, in my opinion. And I just feel that, Red Lantern gets lost in the Green Lantern lot, the whole universe, the whole Green Lantern universe, because I guess not a lot of people read it. And if I can just put my 2 cents in and tell people to pick it up and you might like it, I'm gonna do it. Next up, we have Talon number 5. Scott Snyder and Tion trapped in the depths of Gotham. Alright. Bottom line in this is Calvin Rose barely escaped the Butcher, that huge, big Talon that we saw in issue number 4. He basically just escaped him. And he's recovered really nicely from his wounds and everything like that. And he's just having time with his allies and things like that. The beginning of the book, I'll spoil that. We see a certain character that defends Gotham now taking notice of what's going on. So, looks like Mr. Calvin Rose and a certain knight will meet sometime soon. But the basis of it is Calvin and the rest of his crew, Sebastian, they're still want to cause the Talons more damage. And they still are like to the Butcher, that big Talon, you gotta find Rose and everything like that, and things like that. And the main thing is they need to ensnare a trap for the Talons that involves his former ally is that he actually fell for. This girl right here. I'm going to show you her. The other woman right here. It was her who kind of, he was supposed to kill her, but he didn't. They really have to do, they got to stop something to, really to focus on, to hurt the Talons once again. And as for the Butcher, he is doing what he does best. That's hurting people. This guy is huge. I'm telling you right now, people, he is enormous. He's got to be at least about 8-7 feet tall. He's huge, and this issue ends on a cliffhanger at best. But other than that, I've still been enjoying Talon. This is another book, in my opinion, that gets lost in the dust in a sense because it is dealing with the Talons, the Court of Owls. As long as it's staying pretty much now, the Court of Owls is pretty much staying involved in this book, not in any other book. So I really don't mind that too much. Alright. And the last book, I'm going to really go pretty fast with this one because I really didn't like this kind of aftermath in a sense. Okay, Teen Titans number 17. Alright, Scott Liddell. First of all, look at that dirty cover. Look who's on the cover. That disgusting piece of shit of Raven. That's supposed to be Raven. Look at that shit. That's ugly. That's disgusting. This is supposed to be in the wake of Death in the Family. Tim has rejoined with the group, and they're traveling back from Gotham back to New York City, and basically like that. He's really quiet. He's out of mask now. I'll show you. Tim is out of mask. I'm gonna spoil, pretty much spoil a lot of this because I doubt a lot of people reading this. Okay, as you can see here, they're in a limousine, and Tim is out of mask. He's not in his costume, but still nobody knows his real name, and they're still like, you see him right there, and you see Kid Flash right on the side and things like that. They're still like, well, we still don't know much about you and everything like that. But he says, now you understand why I have to keep a lot of secrets from you, things like that. And basically, Kid Flash is like, okay, we're in New York. How come we're not going back to, LexCorp Towers where Tim actually lived? He had a big penthouse in that tower. But unfortunately, Tim says, no, we're not going there anymore. I moved all our stuff. Now we're going to live here on this big yacht right here. This is where we're living. Since I'm the only one that got a credit card, yeah. He says there will be no crew. The team is happy about it. And he says they'll pilot everything. And things like that. However, Tim's acting kind of strange. And at one point, we see Tim kissing Solus, who was supposed to be kind of with Bart. And then he goes on and he starts kissing Cassie, Wonder Girl. So Tim is macking it. He's playing tonsil hockey with two of his female companions, teammates. And then of course they get into that this disgusting Raven. I'm not even gonna spoil that. And then it starts getting really interesting from there because something is on or off about Tim. But other than that, really didn't like this issue too much. But since I am a completionist, I can't have, sometimes I can do it, but when there's series that I like, I can't have, it had 16, but I'll skip this, skip 17, so no, I can't be like that. But anyway, yeah, that's all the DC I got for you. Alright, so now we move on to independent. I got 4 independent books for you. And the first one is from Boom, Paul Jenkins, of course, DeathMatch number 3. Alright. Bottom line in this, without spoiling too much, is that we're starting to really find out who is responsible for putting all these heroes in these death matches. And many of the heroes know who they are, but not all of them. And that's pretty much the main gist of the story. But of course, we are introduced once again to more heroes, for example, and as always, they give us a little backstory in the back of the book. So we have this guy called the Hater, this guy right here, and then we have this Panther-like character called the Mutate, and they fight. And unfortunately, Mutate beats him. And that's a lot that's going on once again. But the main gist of the story is in issue 3 is we finally figure out who is the who's responsible for this and why are they doing this. And that's pretty much interesting. But we do get to see some other characters like another battle once again called the Collective, this alien-like character who has like 1,000 souls in him that makes up one And then of course we have this fight between Meriden, and unfortunately the Collective gets, this happens to the Collective. Rip the part. But other than that, it's fine. It was interesting once again, and we see something happen to one of the main characters in the story by the name of I'm forgetting her name. Hey God, I'm forgetting her name. But it's this character right here. She's like a Batman-esque character, but she's cool. But other than that, it's fine. But like I said, once again, you know, we get backstories of who these characters are. You know, there's the Mutate, there's the Collective, there's Merit, as you can see, and of course the Hater. Stupid name, but it's fine. Alright, but other than that, DeathMatch 3 was still good. I've still been pretty much intrigued by it. Now I'm more invested in it because, yeah, I want to know what's going on. Alright, so we move on to the next. And finally, the issue 2 finally came out. And that's the Red 10. Issue 2. This is like a whodunit story. Hero, Batman-esque hero, female, was killed. Many of her teammates are looking for the person responsible. In this issue, what happened in the last issue, the android-esque character of the team exploded, died. So basically, now there are 9. And pretty much we get a backstory in a sense of Red. And what she was like when she was a kid and things like that with her dad, who was a cop. Unfortunately, she witnessed, you know, her father get gunned down and everything like that. As you can see here, you know, don't want to spoil too much, but you actually felt for it because even though these kind of stories are done over, it's still, you know, you're only human. You still feel it. It's like, oh God, you know. And just hearing her dad die, but she made a promise to her father. You know, we don't hear what he says because it's like really like the dialogue is really faded in, so we can't really see. But she does promise with blood-soaked hands, prints on her face, and you can see it right here. She's crying. But still, it's still to the point of they still want to know what's going on and why is this happening. And we get a little bit more of backstory into some of the other characters that was really good. You know, and things like that. But the team starts to really kind of what they call themselves. The Alliance, that's their name. They're really starting to, like, you know, well, okay, we found the oxymoron. That's the one that's supposed to have killed Red. So he's dead. Case closed. But her sidekick, her former sidekick, Red Guardian, or you know, is the Crimson Kid, I should say. He's like, no, something's not adding up, and things like that. And it's true because things aren't adding up. And then all of a sudden, we lose another member. So then, basically, this issue reminded me of that classic Spider-Man and His Amazing Friend episode with the chameleon. Remember that episode where it was 7 superheroes and he would take them out? You know, had, you know, the Firestar, Iceman, Spider-Man, Namor, Captain America, Shauna, Doctor Strange, people like that. It reminded me of that because the last part of it basically said 9 little heroes, each a victim of fate. One went to hell, and then there were 8. So I'm like, okay, that was interesting. But this is fun. This is really fun. I like this, you know, like whodunit aspect of it. You know, I like it very much. All right, and we move on to Mask. Mask number 4. Chris Robinson still is doing the writing, and Dennis Calariel is on the art. But as always, this series is still, the art direction is still done by Alex Ross. He's directing how the art should be. And in this issue, we kind of get a sense of who's really running the Justice Party and everything like that. And the mayor, the governor are following this person. The heroes, like as you can see here, the Spider, Green Hornet, and the Shadow, they're starting to put 2 and 2 together, starting to figure out what's going on. We get to see once again. Who else we get to see in this book? We get to see Black Bat finally coming to ramifications of, though he's blind, he's not really blind, because as we can see here, he's able to fight off some of the guards. As long as they're in light, it's almost like he can see them now. A little bit like Daredevil, but not. But of course, we get to see Ms. Fury and the Green Llama. Ms. Fury is getting her own solo-ish series. That's good. And so is Black Bat. And things like that. We see Shadow come and rescue Ms. Fury and the Green Llama. A little help from Margot Lane. She helps him out as well. And we also get to see kind of, once again, Zorro coming into faction again, which is fine. As you can see here, he's fighting. He's not in costume, but he's fighting off some of the Justice Party, you know. And it's still been fun. And I've been really enjoying this series. This has just been really fantastic. It's a great, I think it's only 12 issues or 10 or 8 issues, but it's been fun. It's all my favorite pulp characters, mass pulp characters in one book. Once again, what's the slogan? Before the superheroes, there were the masks. Good stuff. All right, and we end Independent with another Dynamite book, and that's Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt. This is number 6. First of all, I love that cover. Very nice. Very nice cover. So Steve Darnell and Alex Ross are still doing the writing, still co-writing together. Very good. Jonathan Liu, his artwork is really good in this. And basically, believe it or not, Peter Thunderbolt meets some sort of version of Adam and Eve. I'm not joking about that. I am not joking about that. And everything like that. That's the main gist of it. It's like he met a version of Adam and Eve, the first man and the first lady. You know, it's kind of getting a little biblical here, but other than that, it was fine. It was fine, but it was just, Adam looked like Zeus in a sense. Like, I'll show you what he looked like. Here's Adam. That's Adam right there at the bottom. And let me show you Eve. And I can get a good look at Eve. That's Eve right there next to Peter. This right there, that woman right there. But other than that, you know, it's them really rooting Peter on about peace and everything like that, and you know, and it's like, okay, I'm a little interested in it, but this has been a fun series. This is another character that has been around for a while. This is, I think, this is like the 2nd volume. But if you don't know who Peter Cannon is, research the character. Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt, research him. You'll get your introduction to who the character is. But once again, as I've always said about Dynamite, they know how to do those classic pulp characters and do them right. Bring them out for these new young bloods that don't know who the characters are, and people fall in love with them. So this is for my mentor, because I might have to get him on another Dynamite book, because I heard news that is going to thrill you, Sensei. Heard it from a mutual friend of ours, Deadpoolzilla. Our lady Gail Simone is going to be writing Red Sonja. So I might have to get you on Red Sonja now. Okay, so we move on to end it on Marvel, right? Let's go on to Marvel. And we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 Marvel books. And I think the first one we'll start off with is Astonishing X-Men 59, Margaret Loon. Very good stuff, as always. Without spoiling too much, this is kind of a prelude of what's that? Extermination that's coming out. With the, Nightcrawler from the Age of Apocalypse world. But also the story is also about Northstar, that he's going to be deported because he's been in the United States illegally, in a sense. And I like that idea, because even She-Hulk even says it to him, who he asks to be her lawyer, and She-Hulk is like, she basically, I'm a repeat, I'm a basically reiterate what she said. She says, "It's so funny, our powers make us feel entitled to certain privileges. You just go where you want to go because you can fly across borders and things like that. But there are consequences, and even though they aren't fair, you're getting off easy compared to what other people might represent." Basically, she's saying, like, you're getting kind of off easy, even though you're married to an American. That's not holding up any stick to the point you still are going to be deported. And you feel for John Paul this. You're like, I know you got married to your husband and everything like that, but the fact of the matter, you're going to be deported. You got to go back to Canada. You got to go back, and you're like, man, that's really messed up. And you see John Paul. He's really devastated about this, and he's also to the point of, like, he's talking to his husband, Kyle. I think that's his husband's name, Kyle. He's like, "How would you feel about moving to Canada?" And he's like, "I'm not sure. I'm suited. I love New York. New York is my home." And Jean Paul's like, it's maybe yours, but it's not really mine, and things like that. And then, of course, there are 2 stories going on, and Wolverine is up creek paddle without, a paddle without a creek, you know what I'm trying to say about, he wants to help Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler, but it might come down to might have to him, and that you really feel for both Wolverine and Jean Paul in this, but it was really good. Hope I didn't spoil too much for everybody who's never, including my mentor, Blue Goblin, because he did not read this issue. But other than that, Margaret Liu just still tells a very enticing tale for Astonishing X-Men. Very good indeed. Alright, so we move on to Gambit, the Raging Cajun himself, number 9. James Adams, I like his writing on Gambit. He makes Gambit feel like that old school Gambit once again. He's still a Gambit that we know now. He's still a teacher and everything like that, but Mr. Adams is literally like tippy-toeing Gambit back into his thievery days, and everything like that. And Clay Mann's artwork in this is beautiful. Let me show you a nice look at that cover. Look at that beautiful representation of classic Gambit right there he drew. That is beautiful. So basically, this issue centers around way back to the beginning of the mysterious woman known as Jolie that Gambit met and encountered and things like that. And Gambit wants to help her. He knows something is up. Why does she keep doing this stuff and everything like that? So he follows her into like this nightclub that doesn't have a name yet in New York. But in there, a lot of villains actually go there. Like, you see a lot of villains here, like people from AIM. You got Boomerang in there. He's still beat up from his fight with Superior Spider-Man. I'm not even joking. He's in crutches and everything. We see, Tiger Shark, Badrock the Leaper in there, Lady Stilt Woman in there, a lot of people in there. Like, you can see right here, look, Gambit talking to Tiger Shark and Badrock the Leaper. And even before he's about to go in there, before he gets a call from somebody, a former ex-girlfriend of his, who is Gambit's ex-girlfriend, Rogue. And he's like, oh great, I got a call from my ex-girlfriend. And he's like, hey Cher, what can I? And she's like, don't you share me, Remy LeBeau. Like, I love her. She's like, don't you share me, Remy LeBeau. What's going on? Like, because all his things are starting to be advertised now. And she's like, how come I'm the only way I get to know what's going on with you is in the newspaper? Your crime, your reports of crime, London, Switzerland, Guatemala. What's going on? Talk to me and everything like that. That was really funny. And as you can see here, she's talking to him, right? Gambit. She's talking to Gambit. She's at the Avengers mansion, things like that. And he's like, I swear, Cher, when I see you, I'm gonna talk to you. Don't worry about it. I swear as I talk to you, don't worry. You gotta love the Raging Cage. I'm sorry. But other than that, it was really fun. It was just a really fun issue. But the main gist of it, what I really want to show you, is who Gambit is going to be having some troubles with. And that is none other than Lonnie Lincoln, aka Tombstone. Yeah. Not bad. Very good. Alright, so we move on to Guardians of the Galaxy .1. Brian Michael Bendis, I too must give you credit, sir. As much as I've always said, when you start writing too many books sometimes, you can start seeing your consistency drops because, in my opinion, you start getting writer's block. So you start rehashing stuff, but trying to tell it in a different way. I'll even admit it. You're doing good, sir. Very good. Steve McNiven's artwork. Steve McNiven, I've always loved Steve McNiven. His artwork is just beautiful in this book. So the basis of this, if nobody's never read any Guardians of the Galaxy back when David Abney and Andy Lannon was writing them or anything like that, this is a good jump on point. But if I do recommend you going back and reading some of the other classic stuff. But what this is just a retelling of Star-Lord Peter Quill's story. I knew about his origin. I knew his father, what his father was, everything like that. His mom. But it still was really great to read. And you got a little bit of in-depth into who Peter Quill is once again. Why he's doing the thing he does. What is his main focus. And what the hell is he prepared to do to keep Earth safe. No one touches Earth. And he's telling his origin to, I'll show you this. He's telling his origin to none other than Tony Stark. And basically, he basically says, to Tony Stark, you get to see my lady Gamora, yeah, most dangerous woman in the galaxy. Rocket Raccoon, Jason Momoa, Drax the Destroyer. Yeah, Jason Momoa is going to be Drax. Groot, I am Groot. And, and basically, him saying, so I do what we all do. Was there more? Was that more than you wanted to know, Stark? And Tony says, hell no, Star-Lord. That's exactly what I want to know. Cheers. Cheers. You're in? I'm all in. What now? Now we show them how it's done. And yeah, so we're going to be continued in Guardians of the Galaxy #1. But yeah, I also want to bring up this. Marvel. What the hell is this? This is supposed to be next issue? What the hell? What the hell? But other than that, this is really good. If you're not a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, you may not like it. But if you were interested in it, check it out. There are a lot of people that don't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy is. Excuse me. And sure, there are members missing from the team. I mean, there's a lot of characters, members missing from the team. But other than that, it was fine. You know, like I said, if you want me to go down the list, okay, where's Moondragon? Where's Phalos? You know, where's people like that? You know, where's Quasar? You know, I can keep going. You know, where's Adam Warlock? You know, Jesus Christ. You know, but other than that, Guardians of the Galaxy, fine, good stuff, very good. All right, so we move on to Hawkeye #8, and Matt Fraction still is doing a good job on this book. I'll admit it, people. Not the biggest Fraction fan. You know me. I'm not the biggest Fraction fan. Why do I pick up this book? Because I support Hawkeye. Not Fraction. Hawkeye. Clint. And it seems that Hawkeye, once again, the book is basically Hawkeye meets that woman again who he got the car from. Remember that beautiful redhead he met? Yeah, she's back in this issue. And something's more involved. I don't want to spoil too much. But we get to see, which is really funny, she kisses him and everything like that. But guess what? Look who sees all that happening. Three women that Hawkeye's been in a relationship with. Black Widow, his ex-wife Mockingbird, and his current girlfriend Spider-Woman, right there at the end. Which was really funny. But there's a lot going on in this book, what I don't want to spoil. But it was really fun. I do think you should pick it up. Not if you're a Fraction fan, yeah. But if you're a Hawkeye fan, yeah, you'll like it. And especially if you like both Hawkeyes, Clint Barton, the originator, and Katie Bishop. Good stuff. All right. Journeys into mystery number 649. Excuse me. Catherine Emont still does a good job writing this, and basically, Sif is introduced to the Superior Spider-Man. He's in this book, and it was really good just seeing how this Superior Spider, Ock Parker, interacts with Lady Sif and her Berserker warriors and things like that, which was fine. And they're defending the city against these these Spider-Men characters, these spider-like creatures as you see right here. Sif is just hacking and slashing, taking them out, you know, saving the city and things like that. But what I really want to talk about is the ending. And I'm sorry. The ending is really what got me. Still good, but it's the ending that really was like. So Sif and the rest of her Berserker team, you know, head back to Asgardia, and she's greeted by her brother Hondo and everything like that. And Hondo goes on and asks her, I hope you got your head on straight now, because she's been acting really bizarre and really bloodthirsty ever since she did that ritual in the very first issue of her, and all of a sudden she does something which, oh my god. And I'm not sure if anybody else is reading this, but so I'm going to spoil this. Look what she does to her brother. She chopped off his head. She chopped off Heimdall's head. I looked at that and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell? It just threw me off. Crazy. It was crazy. Alright? But Journey into Mystery 649 was pretty damn good. Alright. Greg Rucka's final run with Frank Castle, the Punisher. Punisher WarZone, 5 out of 5. Basically, Frank does the impossible to get Rachel Coles out of jail. And he plays the Avengers pretty damn well in this. I'm not even gonna lie. He plays them pretty damn well. But all it was a ploy to just get her out to escape. And it was fine. But later on you can see that after a while Frank is just really outgunned. He's outmatched. They're just seriously, he's just seriously outmatched. But he does pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's one point where he literally shot Spider-Man up close with a shotgun. And I was like, but then we find out later that there was something wrong with the gun. But let's just say after a while, Frank just gets outmatched by Iron Man, Black Widow, Thor, Cap, and Spider-Man. And it was the point that I really liked was when he knew he was done. But I loved Cap's basically his reply to Punisher was, "Stand down, Marine. That's an order." And you got Punisher basically saying, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir," basically. But it was all a ploy to get Rachel Coles out of the situation that she was in, because she was going to be killed. They were going to give her the death penalty. And where is Rachel? She's in LA. Still doing... So you can basically say the female Punisher is in LA. That's it. But other than that, I want to just take this opportunity to say, Mr. Rocha, thank you so much for what you did for Frank Castle, the Punisher. You gave Frank a little bit more of character than a lot of people sometimes think they do right, but they're doing it wrong in a sense. You gave him more of a sense of purpose, and you also gave us some more in-depth into why he's still doing this. Why he's still putting the punishment to the criminal element. I like the Punisher. I always have. And I thought Mr. Rocha did a very good job with him. When I heard he was taking over writing Punisher, I was all for it because I like Greg Rocha on Batman, and I was like, he can do good on Punisher. He'll take Punisher very well. It's just sad to see Punisher, and Greg Rocha ending his run on Punisher. But once again, Mr. Rocha, thank you very much for what you've done with the character, and you will not be forgotten in my eyes. Just remember, Mr. Rocha, you got a fan in New York that loved your writing for Frank Castle. Thank you very much. All right. Got that off my chest. So we move on to Uncanny Avengers number 4. Rick Miranda, John Cassaday. This will be his last, I believe this will be his last issue that he'll be drawing for a while, because Oliver Coppelli comes in the next issue. this was good, very good indeed. The Avengers Unity Squad. That's what they're really called. They're the Unity Squad, basically because mutants and non-mutants working together. They're not called the Uncanny Avengers, but they're dealing with this Red Skull and who has Professor Xavier's powers and everything like that. And let's just say it doesn't go pretty too damn well for the team, because the Red Skull was able to even penetrate Thor's mind and control him. He couldn't do anything, and Thor is just beating the crap out of a lot of the members, especially like Wolverine. He shut down Wolverine's healing factor, so when Thor hit him with Mjolnir, his healing factor was shut down, so he's pretty much nearly crippled, disabled. Red Skull is just doing crazy stuff in this that, the team, did they beat him? No, I won't even say they beat him. I would say it's literally a flawed victory. But they're able to kind of stop it in a sense. But let's just say what we get in here is a lot of homages to a lot of classic covers. For example, one, Days of Futures Past, which was really fun to see. I thought that was really cool. We just see Wanda really kind of step up in this book as well. Rogue kind of steps up as well, and Havoc does too. But the main gist of is they're just beat the fuck up. Like, I'm not even joking. Let me just show you what this is. Wolverine up there, look, busted up. Look at Havoc, busted eye. Rogue got shot. She's shot in the shoulder. Wanda's, her torso got sliced. The only one that really didn't take a beating too much is Cap. Steve is all he did was get like a bloody nose, and I guess Thor. But we kind of see that dark days are coming, and Havoc even says to Steve, if you want to take back over the squad, I won't even stop you. But Steve is like, no, you're leading the Unity Squad. You're leading it, and I'm right about you. I'm right about a lot of people most of the time. You can do it. We also see Wanda and Rogue. Wanda's trying to say, look, Rogue, I'm not here to ruin anything. Please, can we put our differences aside? And Rogue's like, the only reason I'm gonna stay around basically here is like, I don't trust you. I'm sorry, Wanda, I can't really trust you. You're a dangerous mess. You're dangerous, and I'll stick around for two reasons. It's what Charles would have wanted, and to make sure you don't hurt anyone. I'm like, wow. The other part of the book was really good is between Thor and Wolverine, who's still really recovering from his beating. He's still recovering. And Thor basically comes to him. Wolverine says, I can smell your shampoo, Goldilocks. And Thor is don't fret over me. Wolverine says, don't fret over me. I'm on med. I'm on the med. I don't blame you for what happened, what you did to me, or anything like that. And Thor's like, it is your other pain that I want to address. And basically, he shows Wolverine a Daily Bugle paper, and it basically says, Xavier's gone, Dream's still alive. And basically Thor says, you did not fail him. He knew you would get it right. He knew you would double the fight without him. On this time, you're not fighting alone, my friend. I added my friend to the part, but that's basically Thor. But then they go 3 months from now, from this story, and oh my God, Rick Remender, are you really going to go that route? I don't believe it, but yeah. It was good. It was good. Alright? And, let's do this. We'll give a double dose of Uncanny. So we're going with Uncanny X-Force number 2. Oh boy, this was fun. This was really fun. So Psylocke and Storm and Puck are still trying to figure out what the hell is Spiral doing with this mutant child, and why is she so eager to protect him. Things like that. That's the main gist of what's going on. Also, we see Max and his clone somewhere, and he stole a Barack Obama and Queen Elizabeth's toothbrush and gave it to her as a present. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But we also see the return of Bishop. Yeah, Bishop. That was the last part of the first issue. We saw his return. However, Bishop has new abilities now. Or should I say, is that really Bishop? Because at the end of the book, which really kind of gives you something to think about. It's like, is that really Bishop? Because, he looks like Bishop. He's got the M on his eye like Bishop used to have, but, besides the new power sets, something is off about this guy. And even some of the dialogue that he's even roaring a lot. He's roaring like an animal. And then even Psylocke says, I can't believe you roared at me. You're roaring at me? Like, what's going on? Yeah, this was still fun. Psylocke is still trying to get through some issues that she's been going through for a while. And that's mainly the reason why Storm is with her. In a sense. To make sure she doesn't do something stupid or crazy. And I love me some Psylocke. I love Betsy, and I don't want to see her do something stupid or crazy either, and that's why I'm glad Aurora is with her. And Puck was just funny and really good in this. Spiral, something's up with Spiral, but other than that, this has still just been fun. Garrity's artwork was great, and Humphrey's writing was fine. It had a good blend of action. It was good dialogue, action, you name it, good stuff. But yeah, I'm not quite sure that this is really Bishop. I'm just saying. All right, and we'll end it with none other than Young Avengers number. This is 2. Oh God, I don't want to spoil this either. But the major factor is I'm sorry guys, I don't want to spoil this book. This was really good too. I don't want to spoil it. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry guys. But let's just say you won't be disappointed if you are reading it. Okay? I'm sorry. I am totally sorry, guys. I didn't mean that. Oh, God. But it was just too good it's too good not to spoil, guys. I'm sorry. But let's just say that Loki is involved in it, and you see him interact with Wiccan and Hulkling. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But it does have to do a lot with Hulkling's mother, or should I say, is it his mom or not? But I apologize, guys. just pick up Young Avengers. You'll like it. I'm dead serious. So that's about it, guys. That's all I got for you guys this week. The countdown is still on to episode 100. And other than that, guys, this is Mama and Kid saying peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real, guys. As always, support and all the people I mentioned, support them, subscribe to them. As you know me, I'm a triple threat. You can find me on Tumblr, Facebook, or Twitter. As always, And of course, you can find me here. But other than that, this is Mom Kid. Ta-ta for now.